Ravi lived on the edge of New Mumbai Station, one of the busiest spaceports on Earth. He ran a small booth in the lower trade district. His business was simple. He sold Earth-made drinks to off-world visitors. His best item was a rare bottle of aged whiskey that had survived the floods of Old Delhi. He kept it hidden under the table, waiting for the right customer who could pay well. That morning, business was slow. Ravi leaned on his stall and watched strange ships pass overhead. The sky was full of ships shaped like rings, eggs, and even birds. A thick smell of fried noodles filled the air from nearby food carts. Just as he reached for his lunch, a tall figure approached. She wore a long, dark robe, and her face was half covered with a silver mask. Her skin was pale blue, and her eyes glowed faintly red. People moved out of her way. Ravi stayed still. "You sell drinks," she said in a low voice. Ravi nodded. "Only the best Earth made." The alien woman placed a glowing coin on the table. "It was a Rylon token, worth more than 10 months of profit. I want something rare," she said. Ravi opened a wooden box under his table and took out the whiskey bottle. The glass was dusty, and the label had faded, but the golden liquid inside still caught the light like fire. The alien woman leaned closer. Her nose twitched. Then she nodded. "I'll take it." Ravi handed it over. "Good choice. That one's special." She looked at him for a long second. Then she said something strange. "You are now part of a promise. You gave a gift, so you will receive one in return." Before Ravi could reply, she walked away and disappeared into the crowd that night. Ravi could not sleep. The woman's words echoed in his mind. A promise had been made. But what kind of promise? And what gift was she talking about? The next morning, things got even stranger. 3 young women stood at his booth. They all had pale blue skin like the masked woman. Each one was dressed differently. One wore a warrior's armor. One had a white cloak with stars on it. The third wore a green robe with small flowers woven in. "You are Ravi," the first one said. "Yes," Ravi answered. "Our stepmother gave you the bottle," the second said. "That makes you our chosen," the third added with a small smile. Ravi stared at them. "Chosen for what?" The first daughter stepped forward. "For marriage, all 3 of us. It is the law of our world. A gift taken in trust means a bond has started." Ravi laughed nervously. "This is some kind of joke, right?" They did not laugh. They stood silently, watching him like it was completely normal. He backed away. "Look, I just sold a drink, that's all. I didn't sign any paper or anything." The second daughter held out a small orb. A contract shimmered in the air above. It showed his face, the whiskey bottle, and the words, "Gift of Unity, Agreement." Sealed Ravi felt his knees weaken. "No way, I didn't agree to this." "You did," said the third softly. "By the old law of our people. A gift from Earth given freely has meaning." The first daughter added, "And our stepmother is not just any woman. She is High Matron of House Varnock. She holds the right to bind us in this way." People around the market started staring. A few even began whispering. Ravi quickly waved his hand. Okay, not here. Follow me." He led them through a side alley to his small living space above the booth. It was barely large enough for 1 person, let alone 4. The daughters looked around curiously. "I'm just a simple man," Ravi said. "Why would she choose me?" "Because Earth has something no other world has," the second daughter said. "Courage mixed with kindness. That's what the matron saw in your eyes." "And because," said the third, "our people believe in fate more than plans." Ravi sat down on the edge of his bed. "This is too much. I don't even know your names." The first one smiled. "I am Mira, a warrior." The second nodded. "I am Tessa, a star reader." The third gave a small bow. And I am Neela, a garden keeper. We are yours now, they said together. Ravi stared at them. They seemed honest. They seemed real. But he still could not believe it. He whispered, "What happens if I say no?" Tessa looked at the sky through the window. "Then our people will believe Earth has no honor. A bond broken without cause is seen as an insult. It may lead to cold silence between our worlds," Mira added. "Or war, if pride is touched deeply enough." Ravi held his head. He had only sold a bottle of whiskey, one old drink, and now he was being pulled into something much bigger than he ever imagined. The daughters waited quietly, and slowly, Ravi realized something. He had just become part of a story that no other human had ever lived before, and it had only just begun. Ravi sat with his back against the wall while the three alien daughters stood like statues in his room. His small home was filled with silence. The noise of the market outside was gone. Even his fan had stopped spinning. He looked at Mira, the warrior. She stood straight, her arms crossed. Her armor gave off a soft blue shine. Tessa, the star reader, moved to his window. She looked up at the sky as if reading it. Neela sat down on the floor, folding her hands on her knees. She looked calm, but her eyes followed Ravi with quiet curiosity. Ravi broke the silence first. "I still don't understand. Why me? There are smarter men, stronger ones. I run a drink booth. That's it," Mira answered without blinking. "Because you made a trade without greed. You gave something rare but asked for nothing special in return." Tessa added, "Our stepmother sees rare things in simple places. She trusted her feeling." Neela said softly, "And now we trust her feeling too." Ravi stood up and walked to his small sink. He poured water into a cup and drank slowly. His hands were shaking a little. "You know, on Earth, marriage takes time," he said. "People meet, talk, fall in love. This is too fast." Mira stepped forward. "On our world, duty comes before love. But love may follow if both try." Tessa turned from the window. "We do not ask you to love us today, but we must honor the bond that was sealed." Neela stood up and walked to Ravi. She looked up at him. "Please come with us. Our world must know your face. If you do not, they will call us liars. That would bring shame to our house." Ravi looked at their eyes. All three seemed honest, not angry, not forceful, just sure of what they said. He sat down again and thought for a long moment. Finally, he said, "I will come, but I'm not promising to marry anyone yet. I just want to understand." "Everything first," Mira nodded. "That is fair." Tessa smiled. "That is wise." Neela touched his arm gently. "That is kind." Later that day, the daughters guided him through the market. Word had already spread. People stared and whispered. A few shopkeepers bowed slightly. To him. Ravi tried to ignore them. They walked to Dock 5, where a silver ship waited. Its body looked like smooth stone. There were no engines, no lights. Just a glowing door. Ravi stopped. "Where are we going?" "To our home," Mira said. "The city of Valen, in the sky seas of Ithanar. It will take only 2 Earth hours." Tessa said. "You may sit beside me," Neela offered, with a soft smile. Ravi followed them inside. The ship had no controls, no seats. But when he stepped in, the walls formed soft places to sit. The light inside changed to match his Earth sun. He sat beside Neela. Mira stood by the door. Tessa touched a panel. The ship rose without sound. He looked out the window and saw Earth growing smaller. The clouds looked like feathers. The land looked like paint. Then they passed the moon. Then stars filled the windows like sand scattered on black glass. Soon, a blue light appeared in the distance. It grew larger. It was not a planet. It was a giant city floating in space. Towers rose and fell like waves. Bridges moved like living things. Bright gardens bloomed on rooftops. Huge creatures flew between the towers with glowing wings. "This is Valen," Tessa said proudly. Ravi stared in silence when they landed. People in silver robes bowed to the daughters. Some looked at Ravi with curious eyes. He followed quietly. Inside the palace. The stepmother waited. She had removed her mask. Her face was calm and wise. She looked older than before, but her eyes still glowed red. "Welcome, Ravi of Earth," she said. "You have taken the first step." Ravi bowed slightly. "I still don't know what I'm stepping into." She nodded. "That is expected. Come, let me explain." They sat in a round room with walls made of living vines. The daughter sat around him. The matron spoke slowly. "Our people follow the law of the old gift. It says that when a man gives a rare item to a house mother without force or lies, then fate has marked him. He is seen as one with honor, and he becomes one with the house if the bond is not broken," Ravi said. "But I didn't know the rule. I didn't give it for marriage. I gave it for trade." The matron looked at him. "That is why it matters. You gave without knowing the weight. That makes it pure." Mira said, "The gift was rare." "The meaning became large," Tessa said, "and our bond became real." Neela added, "But still your choice remains. You are not a prisoner. You are a guest of fate." Ravi looked at the three. He was quiet. Then he asked, "If I leave, will your world be angry?" The matron said, "Some may be, some may not, but most will feel sorrow. They will believe Earth turned away a bond." Ravi looked at his hands. They were shaking again. He had come here with no plan. Now he was part of an ancient law and caught between duty and truth. "I need time," he said. The matron nodded. "You shall have 3 days. During that time, you will live among us. Learn what we are. See what you feel." Mira stood. "I will show you our city," Tessa stood. "I will show you the stars," Neela stood. "And I will show you the gardens." Ravi slowly stood up. "All right. I will stay. I will learn." The daughters bowed slightly, and so Ravi of Earth stepped deeper into a world that followed ancient bonds, quiet promises, and hearts that still believed in fate. He had no idea what waited next, but he had already taken the first steps into the unknown. Ravi's first morning in Valen began with soft light shining through a living wall. The walls of his guest room changed colors as he moved. The air smelled like fresh mint. He touched the floor, and it warmed gently under his feet. He looked around. The strange room. Everything felt new. Everything felt alive. He sat for a moment and thought about his life back on Earth. His small booth. His quiet days. That one bottle of whiskey had changed everything. A soft knock came on the door. It was. "Mira, are you ready?" she asked. "I think so," Ravi replied. "Today, I show you the city," she said. They walked through bright streets. The buildings were tall, but not made of stone. They were made of light and wind. Everything moved slowly, like waves. People bowed to Mira as they passed. Some whispered his name. Others looked at him with wide eyes. Mira led him to a large arena. Warriors trained there with glowing staffs. Some floated above the ground. Others used only their hands. Mira said, "This is where I trained since I was a child. We believe in strength, but we never fight without reason." Ravi watched as Mira stepped into the circle. She held a staff and faced another warrior. They danced like shadows, quick and silent. The match ended with Mira knocking her opponent down gently. She turned to Ravi. "What do you think?" He smiled. "You're strong. I would never want to fight you." She laughed softly. "That is wise." They walked through the market next. It was full of colors and smells Ravi had never seen. One stand sold floating fruits. Another had clothes that changed with your mood. A small creature offered him a shining stone that hummed when touched. Mira bought him a drink made from silver leaves. It was warm and sweet. They sat together and watched people pass by. "Do you like our city?" Mira asked. "It's beautiful," Ravi said. "But it feels like a dream." She looked at him. "Dreams sometimes show truth before we do." At sunset, Mira brought him back to the palace. Tessa waited at the door. "Tomorrow," she said, "you will see the stars with me." That night, Ravi lay on the soft bed and stared at the ceiling. It glowed like a calm sea. He kept thinking about Mira's words, about strength with reason, about dreams and truth. The next day, Tessa took him to the top of the palace. A small ship waited there. It looked like a star itself. When they stepped inside, it moved without sound. Soon, they floated above Valen. The sky turned dark, and stars filled the view. Ravi had never seen so many. They were close and clear. Tessa pointed at a cluster of lights. "That is the House of Flame. They trade fire from stars." She pointed at another group. "That is the House of Glass. They build cities from sand and time." She showed him map after map in the stars. Her voice was calm. She knew every name, every path. She spoke as if the stars were family. Ravi asked, "Why do you study them?" She answered, "Because stars remember things. They keep our stories. They help us choose the right time for big choices." She turned to him. "Your coming was marked in the stars 2 cycles ago. A stranger from the blue world. A gift given. A bond started." "You believe that?" Ravi asked. "Yes," she said. "And not because I have to, but because I feel it." She reached into her cloak and pulled out a small crystal. She handed it to him. "This is yours now. It will show you the path you walk, but it never tells you what to choose, only what may come." Ravi held it. The crystal was cold, but lit up as he touched it. Inside it, a tiny storm of lights danced. They flew for some time without speaking. Then they returned to the city. Neela waited with a small basket in her hands. She smiled. "Tomorrow is my turn." That night, Ravi stood in his room holding the crystal. It glowed softly in the dark. He whispered to himself, "What path am I on?" The third day came. Neela took Ravi to the heart of the city where no towers stood, only trees, lakes, and flowers. The ground was soft and the air smelled sweet. "This is my garden," she said. "It grows in every season. It lives with the city. It feeds many and heals others." She walked among the plants, touching each one with care. She showed him a plant that sang when sunlight hit it, another that folded its leaves when touched. Ravi asked, "Why do you love plants?" Neela smiled. "Because they never lie. They grow if you care. They fade if you don't. They tell truth with silence." She handed him a small seed. "This is yours. If you stay, we will plant it together. If you go, plant it on earth. It will remember you." Ravi held the seed. It felt warm in his palm. They walked beside a small river. Neela dipped her fingers in the water and said, "Many think love is only fire or storm, but it can be roots too. Quiet but strong, hidden but deep." She looked at him. "Do you feel anything growing?" Ravi looked at her. Her eyes were full of peace. He had no words for what he felt, only a strange pull inside his chest. That evening, all 3 daughters met with him in the palace garden. The matron was there too. "Your 3 days are over," she said. "Now we ask, do you stay or do you return to your world?" Ravi looked at Mira. She was silent, strong, proud. He looked at Tessa, calm, wise, full of stars. He looked at Neela, gentle, kind, full of life. He held the crystal in one hand. The seed in the other. He took a breath and said, "I need one more night." Just one. Alone. The matron nodded. You shall have it. And so Ravi sat alone in the garden that night. Stars above him, soft lights around him. In one hand, the seed. In the other, the crystal. He had come from a dusty booth on earth. Now he stood at a crossroad between two worlds. He had to choose, and that choice would change not just his life, but the future of two civilizations. The sky above the garden was quiet. Soft winds passed through glowing trees. Flowers opened under moonlight. Ravi sat beside a small pool with his feet in the water. The seed from Neela rested beside him. The crystal from Tessa floated above his palm. It turned slowly and gave off a soft silver light. He had never felt so far from Earth, but he had also never felt so alive. Each daughter had shown him a part of her world. Mira had shown him strength. Tessa had shown him the stars. Neela had shown him peace, and now he had to decide. Ravi closed his eyes and thought about his life before all this. His market booth, his quiet days, his simple dreams. He had never planned for marriage. He had never expected to leave Earth. Yet here he was, part of something. Larger than he ever imagined, footsteps came from behind. He turned. It was the matron. She did not wear her mask tonight. Her face was calm. Her red eyes glowed softly. I thought you would be asleep, she said. I couldn't sleep, Ravi replied. She walked closer and sat beside him. The moonlight touched her face gently. Many believe fate controls everything, she said. But fate only opens doors. It does not force you through. Ravi looked at the crystal. Why me? The matron answered, because you gave something pure. Not just the drink. You gave respect. You gave time. You listened. You looked without fear. These are rare gifts. I never wanted this, he said. I was just trying to sell a bottle. She nodded. Sometimes small actions create large waves. But still, the choice is yours, Ravi asked. If I leave, will they be hurt? Yes, the matron said, but they will not hate you. They are strong in different ways. Each will heal, but a bond broken leaves a mark, and our world will remember it. He looked at the pool. If I stay, I don't know how to be a husband. I don't know your customs. I'm not like your people. The matron placed a hand on his shoulder. You are not asked to be like us. You are asked to be yourself. That is what they saw in you. She stood up. When the sun rises, come to the circle of choice. Speak your heart. Do not fear shame. Whatever you decide, speak with truth. That is all we ask. Then she left, and Ravi sat alone again. The night passed slowly. The stars faded. The trees became still. The first light of morning touched the sky at sunrise. Ravi walked to the circle of choice. It was a wide platform made of stone and crystal. It stood above the city. The wind there was cool. The sky was clear. Mira, Tessa, and Neela stood in a line. The matron stood behind them. Many people from the city had gathered below to watch. Ravi stepped forward. His voice was soft at first, then grew stronger. When I came here, I was lost. I didn't know your laws. I didn't know your world. But in 3 days, I saw things that changed me. Mira showed me strength that protects, not harms. Tessa showed me how stars carry stories. Neela showed me how roots grow without noise. He looked at each of them as he spoke. You call me chosen. You call me bonded. But I am also just a man from Earth. I don't have power. I don't have great wisdom. What I do have is a heart that wants to do what's right. He held up the crystal and the seed. These were gifts, like the one I gave with the whiskey. None of us knew where that small act would lead, but now we are here. He paused. I cannot marry out of fear. I cannot stay just to escape Earth. But I will stay because I want to know you more. I want to grow like that seed. I want to walk under your stars. I want to protect what I've found. I will not turn my back on something that feels true." The crowd below was silent. Then one person clapped. Then others joined. The sound grew louder until the wind carried it across the city. Mira stepped forward first. She looked into his eyes. "You speak like a warrior," she said. With truth as your blade, Tessa stepped next. "You have chosen not just with reason, but with feeling. The stars shine brighter for it." Neela stepped last. She placed a hand over his heart. "And something has started growing here. I feel it too." The matron raised her hands. "Let it be known. The bond stands. The guest has become family, not by law but by choice." The platform lit up with silver light. A ring formed around them. Flowers bloomed in the air. Bells rang from towers. That evening there was a feast across the city. Music played from floating instruments. Lights danced across the sky. Children ran with glowing birds in their hands. Ravi sat beside the three daughters, and for the first time he laughed without worry. Mira poured him a drink. "You still sell this?" "Only on special days," Ravi said. Tessa looked at the stars. "They told me this would happen." But I still doubted. Neela touched the seed in his pocket. "We plant this tomorrow," Ravi smiled. "Yes, tomorrow." And as the night went on, Ravi realized something important. He had not just given away a bottle of whiskey, he had given away a piece of himself, and in return, he had been given something far more rare, a place of purpose, and maybe, with time, a home. The morning sun touched the city of Valon softly as Ravi stood in the palace garden. The seed Neela had given him rested in his palm. It felt warm and full of promise. Around him, the garden was alive with color and gentle sounds. Mira, Tessa, and Neela stood nearby, watching him with quiet smiles. Today was important. Today they would plant the seed together. It was a symbol of their new bond, and it meant more than just a plant growing. It was the start of something that could last. Ravi felt a strange mix of nerves and hope. His life on Earth had been simple. Selling drinks to travelers was his only joy. But here, in this strange world, he was becoming part of a story larger than himself. Neela stepped forward. "The seed needs care and trust. It will grow only if we give it love." Ravi nodded. "I will do my best." Together they found a quiet spot in the garden. The ground was soft and rich. The three daughters helped Ravi dig a small hole. The seed was placed gently inside. Water from the crystal-clear river was poured over it as the water soaked in. The seed glowed faintly. Tiny roots began to appear. Spreading through the earth like silver threads, Ravi smiled in surprise. "It's alive already," Mira laughed. "Just like our bond," Tessa added. "The stars watch over it now. And us." They stood silently, feeling the quiet power of the moment. The city around them continued its slow, living rhythm. Flowers bloomed. Birds sang. The sun rose higher in the sky days past. Ravi stayed with the daughters and learned more about Valen. He trained with Mira, who taught him how to defend without harm. He studied the stars with Tessa, who showed him how to read their messages. He helped tend the gardens with Neela, who taught him patience and care. The seed grew slowly but surely. It sent out green shoots that reached toward the sky. It became a symbol not just of life, but of hope and unity. One evening, as they sat by the river, Ravi spoke. "I never thought I could feel this connected to a place so far from Earth." Mira smiled. "Home is not just where you are born. It is where you are needed." Tessa looked up at the stars. "And where your heart chooses to stay." Neela reached out and took his hand gently. "You have already become part of our family. We are 3. But now with you, we are 4. Ravi looked at their faces. He felt something warm inside. It was not just duty or promise. It was friendship. It was trust. It was the start of love, but even as he felt this, he knew challenges would come. Not everyone on Earth or Valen would understand. There were old fears and new hopes mixed together. The matron called them to a meeting. "The news of your bond has reached many worlds," she said. "Some celebrate, some question. We must be ready for what comes next." Ravi nodded. "I will stand with you," she smiled. "That is why you are here. Together, we will face the future." That night, Ravi looked at the small plant growing by the riverbank. He whispered, "Thank you for choosing me." The daughters stood beside him. Together they watched the stars shine over Valen. Together they dreamed of a future where two worlds could become one, and so the seed of a new life grew strong, just like the bond between Ravi and the three daughters. It was a beginning, a promise, a hope, and it was only the start. Ravi woke to soft light filtering through the vines of the palace garden. The small plant beside the river was growing steadily. It reminded him that life was moving forward, but his mind was heavy with worry. The bond with the three daughters and the people of Valen was growing stronger. He had learned much in a short time. He had found friendship, respect, and a strange sense of belonging. Yet Earth felt far away. His old life, his friends, his home, all seemed distant and fragile. That morning, the matron called him to the council hall. The room was grand, but filled with a quiet tension. The matron's red eyes glowed softly as she spoke. "Ravi, news has come from Earth. Not all welcome the bond. Some see it as weakness. Others see it as a threat. There are those who fear what they do not understand." Ravi frowned. "What kind of threat?" She sighed. "Earth's leaders are cautious. They do not know your fate here. Some want you to return. Others want to cut ties with Valen." Before Ravi could reply, Mira, Tessa, and Neela entered. They stood with him as the council began to speak. The room filled with voices from many worlds, some kind, some doubtful. A tall man with sharp eyes stood. "This bond between Earth and Valen may endanger peace. We cannot trust strangers so easily." Another woman said, "But it may bring new hope, a chance to learn and grow." Ravi felt the weight of the moment. His choice was not just his anymore. It affected two worlds. He took a deep breath and spoke clearly. "I came here not as a conqueror or a spy. I came because of a promise made with a simple gift. I do not claim to have all answers, but I ask for a chance to build trust," the council murmured. Some nodded, some frowned. The matron raised her hand for silence. "We will watch closely. Ravi must be free to choose, but Earth must also see our world as it is, not through fear or old stories." After the meeting, Mira placed a hand on Ravi's shoulder. "You speak well. Your heart is strong." Tessa nodded. "But the path ahead will not be easy," Neela said softly. "We will face it together." That evening, Ravi stood by the river. The city lights twinkled in the distance. His thoughts drifted to Earth. He wondered if his friends missed him, if they worried, if they even believed what was happening. Suddenly, a small message appeared on his crystal. It was from Earth. Simple. Words flashed. "Return now." "Your presence is needed." Ravi looked at the message and then at the growing plant beside him. His heart beat fast. The choice was coming again. Could he leave this new home? Could he return to the old world? Could he carry both worlds in his heart? Mira joined him quietly. "Whatever you decide, you will not be alone." Ravi smiled faintly. "Thank you. That means more than you know." The night passed slowly. The stars above Vylon seemed to watch over him. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. He was no longer just a man who sold whiskey at a market. He was a bridge between worlds, a symbol of hope and change. And now, the real journey was about to begin. Ravi stood at the edge of Valen's floating city, the wind brushing his face gently. The silver light of dawn made the towers glow like stars. He felt the weight of the moment pressing on his chest. Today, he would speak to both worlds, Earth and Valen, and show them that a new path was possible. The three daughters stood with him. Mira's armor caught the light. Tessa held the star crystal close. Neela carried a small basket of flowers from the gardens. They were no longer strangers, but family. They had walked this journey together. The matron arrived and placed a hand on Ravi's shoulder. Remember, speak with your heart. That is what will change minds. Ravi nodded. He looked out at the crowd below. On one side, ambassadors from Valen and other worlds waited. On the other, a communication link connected to Earth's leaders and citizens. Millions would watch. He took a deep breath and began. I am Ravi, a man from Earth who once sold a bottle of whiskey without knowing it would change his life. That bottle was more than a drink. It was a bridge, a promise, a bond. He looked to the daughters. These three women chose to trust me. They taught me about strength, stars, and growth. They showed me what family means beyond blood. They made me part of something greater. Ravi turned back to the crowd. Earth and Valen are different worlds, different people, different stories. But we share one sky, one hope for peace and friendship, the ambassadors whispered among themselves. The link to Earth showed faces of curious watchers. Ravi continued, Some say fear must guide our actions, that differences bring danger. But I say courage guides us. Courage to reach out. Courage to understand. Courage to grow together. The daughters stepped forward, each speaking in their own voice. Mira spoke of honor and protection. Tessa spoke of wisdom in the stars. Neela spoke of healing and patience. Their words blended like a song. Then the matron raised her voice. We offer Earth friendship. A chance to build, not break. A chance to stand together as one. The crowd erupted in applause. The communication. Link from Earth showed faces smiling, nodding, and hopeful. Ravi felt tears in his eyes, not from sadness, but from the power of connection. He realized that a simple gift had opened a door that no war or fear could close. Later, as the crowd dispersed, Mira laughed softly. You have become a true warrior, Ravi. Tessa smiled. A reader of stars and stories, Neela took his hand. And a gardener of new beginnings, Ravi looked at them and smiled. I never imagined selling a bottle of whiskey would lead here, but I am glad it did. The matron joined them. Your story will be told for generations. You are the bridge between Earth and Valen. May it stand strong. Ravi looked up at the stars one last time that night. The sky was wide and full of light. He knew the journey was just beginning, but he was ready. With the three daughters by his side, he was not alone. He was home.